Medford is a city in Middlesex County, Massachusetts, in the United States, on the Mystic River, 3.2 miles northwest of downtown Boston. In the 2010 U.S. Census, Medford's population was 56,173. It is the home of Tufts University. History: 17th century Medford was settled in 1630 as part of Charlestown. The area was originally called Mystic by Thomas Dudley, which his party renamed Medford. In 1634, the land north of the Mystic River became the private plantation of former Governor Matthew Craddock. Across the river was Ten Hills Farm, which belonged to John Winthrop, governor of the Massachusetts Bay Colony. The name may have come from a description of the meadow by the ford in the Mystic River, or from two locations in England that Craddock may have known: the hamlet of Mayford or Metford in Staffordshire near Caverswall, or from the parish of Maidford or Medford. In 1637, the first bridge across the Mystic River was built at the site of the present-day Craddock Bridge, which carries Main Street into Medford Square. It would be the only bridge across the Mystic until 1787, and as such became a major route for traffic coming into Boston from the north. The bridge would be rebuilt in 1880 and 1909. Until 1656, all of northern Medford was owned by Craddock, his heirs, or Edward Collins. Medford was governed as a peculiar, or private plantation. As the land began to be divided among several people from different families, the new owners began to meet and make decisions locally and increasingly independently from the Charlestown town meeting. In 1674, a board of selectmen was elected. In 1684, the colonial legislature granted the ability to raise money independently, and in 1689, a representative to the legislature was chosen. The town got its own religious meeting room in 1690, and a secular meeting house in 1696. 18th and 19th centuries, the land south of the Mystic River was known as Mystic Field. It was transferred from Charlestown to Medford in 1754. This grant also included the Charlestown woodlots, and part of what was at the time Woburn. Parts of Medford were transferred to Charlestown in 1811, Winchester in 1850, and Malden in 1879. Additional land was transferred to Medford from Malden, Everett, and Malden again. The population of Medford went from 230 in 1700 to 1,114 in 1800. After 1880, the population rapidly expanded, reaching 18,244 by 1900. Farmland was divided into lots and sold to build residential and commercial buildings. Starting in the 1840s and 1850s, government services expanded with the population and technological advancement. Tufts University was chartered in 1852 and the Crane Theological School at Tufts opened in 1869. Medford was incorporated as a city in 1892 and was a center of industry, including the manufacture of brick and tile, rum, Medford crackers, and clipper ships such as the White Swallow and the Kingfisher, both built by Hayden and Cudworth. Transportation during the 17th century, a handful of major public roads served the population, but the road network started a long-term expansion in the 18th century. The Medford Turnpike Company was incorporated in 1803, but turned what is now Mystic Avenue over to the city in 1866. The Andover Turnpike Company was incorporated in 1805, but turned what is now Forest Street and Fellsway West over to Medford in 1830. Other major commercial transportation projects included the Middlesex Canal by 1803, the Boston and Lowell Railroad in West Medford in the 1830s, and the Boston and Maine Railroad to Medford Center in 1847. A horse-powered street railway began running to Somerville and Charlestown in 1860. The street railway network expanded in the hands of various private companies, and went electric in the late 1890s. When trolleys to Everett and downtown Boston were available, streetcars were converted to buses in the 20th century. Interstate 93 was constructed between 1956 and 1963. Gypsy moth. In 1868, a French astronomer and naturalist, Léopold Trouvelot, was attempting to breed a better silkworm using gypsy moths. Several of the moths escaped from his home, at 27 Myrtle Street. Within 10 years, the insect had denuded the vegetation in the neighborhood. It spread over North America. Holiday songs in a tavern and boarding house on High Street in the late 19th century. Local resident James Pierpont wrote "Jingle Bells" after watching a sleigh race from Medford to Malden. Another local resident, Lydia Maria Child, made a poem out of the trip across town to her grandparents' house. Now the classic song, "Over the River and Through the Woods." Other notables. Medford was home to Fanny Farmer, author of one of the world's most famous cookbooks, as well as James Plimpton, the man credited with the 1863 invention of the first practical four-wheeled roller skate, which set off a roller craze that quickly spread across the United States and Europe. George Luther Stearns, an American industrialist and one of John Brown's Secret Six. His passion for the abolitionist cause shaped his life, bringing him into contact with the likes of Abraham Lincoln and Ralph Waldo Emerson and starting The Nation magazine. He was given the rank of major by Massachusetts Governor John Andrew, and spent most of the Civil War recruiting for the 54th and 55th Massachusetts Regiments and the 5th Cavalry. Amelia Earhart lived in Medford while working as a social worker in 1925. Elizabeth Short, the victim of an infamous Hollywood murder and who became known as the Black Dahlia, was born in Hyde Park but raised in Medford before going to the West Coast looking for fame. The Peter Tufts House is thought to be the oldest all-brick building in New England. Another important site is the Slave Wall, on Grove Street, built by Pomp, a slave owned by the prominent Brooks family. The Isaac Royal House, which once belonged to one of Harvard Law School's founders, Isaac Royal, Jr., is a National Historic Landmark and a local history museum. The house was used by Continental Army troops, including George Washington and John Stark, during the American Revolutionary War. Medford has sent more than its share of athletes to the National Hockey League. Sean Bates, though born in Melrose, MA, grew up in Medford, as did Keith T. Kachuk, Mike Morrison, David Sacco, and Joe Sacco. Former Red Sox pitcher Bill Monbucat grew up in Medford. Medford was home to Michael Bloomberg, American businessman, philanthropist, and the founder of Bloomberg LP. He was the mayor of New York City from 2002 to 2013. Mayor Bloomberg attended Medford High School and resided in Medford until after he graduated from college at Johns Hopkins University. His mother remained a resident of Medford until her death in 2011. The only cryobank of amniotic stem cells in the United States is located in Medford, built by BioCell Center, a biotechnology company led by Giuseppe Simoni. Medford and the law. Medford is home to some famous crimes. One of the biggest bank robberies and dual heists in world history happened on Memorial Day weekend in 1980, when several crooked officers of the Medford Police and Metropolitan District Commission police forces robbed the Depositors Trust Bank in Medford Square. The book The Cops Are Robbers, a convicted cop's true story of police corruption, is based upon this event. Salvatore's restaurant, located at 55 High Street in Medford Square, is partially in the same location as the bank that was robbed. The private dining room in the restaurant uses the bank's vault door as an entranceway, and the hole in the corner of the ceiling that the robbers crawled through was left intact for nostalgia. An admitted mob execution by Somerville's Irish Winter Hill Gang of Joe, Indian Joe, Notarangili took place at the Pewter Pot Cafe in Medford Square, now called the Lighthouse Cafe. In October 1989, the FBI recorded a mafia initiation ceremony held by the Patriarca crime family at a home on Guild Street, in Medford. Geography. Medford is located at 42 degrees 25 minutes 12 seconds north, 71 degrees 6 minutes 29 seconds west, 42.42000 degrees north, 71.10806 degrees west, 42.42000 minus 71.10806. According to the United States Census Bureau, the city has a total area of 8.6 square miles, of which 8.1 square miles of it is land and 0.5 square miles of it is water. A park called the Middlesex Fells Reservation, to the north, is partly within the city. This 2,060-acre preserve is shared by Medford with the municipalities of Winchester, Stoneham, Melrose, and Malden. The Mystic River flows roughly west to southeast through the middle of the city. Neighborhoods. People from Medford often identify themselves with a particular neighborhood. West Medford, Fulton Heights, The Heights, Wellington, Glenwood, Lawrence Estates. South Medford, the hillside. Tufts University. Demographics. Irish Americans are a strong presence in the city and live in all areas. South Medford is a traditionally Italian neighborhood. West Medford, the most affluent of Medford's many neighborhoods, was once the bastion of some of Boston's elite families, including Peter Chardon Brooks, one of the wealthiest men in post-colonial America, and father-in-law to Charles Francis Adams, and is also home to an historic African-American neighborhood that dates to the Civil War. As of the census of 2010, there were 56,173 people, 22,810 households, and 13,207 families residing in the city. The population density was 6,859.9 people per square mile. There were 24,046 housing units at an average density of 2,796.0 per square mile. The racial makeup of the city was 78.6% white, 8.80% African American, 0.2% Native American, 6.9% Asian, 0.01% Pacific Islander, 2.8% from other races, and 2.7% from two or more races. Hispanic or Latino of any race were 4.4% of the population. There were 22,810 households, out of which 22.3% had children under the age of 18 living with them, 42.5% were married couples living together, 11.4% had a female householder with no husband present, and 42.1% were non-families. 24.6% of all households were made up of individuals, and 11.1% had someone living there alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 2.38 and the average family size was 3.00. In the city, the population was spread out with 13.8% under the age of 15, 14.3% from 15 to 24, 31.7% from 25 to 44, 24.9% from 45 to 64, and 15.2% who were 65 years of age or older. The median age was 37.7 years. For every 100 females there were 91.5 males. For every 100 females age 18 and over, there were 89.4 males. The median income for a household in the city was $52,476, and the median income for a family was $62,409. Males had a median income of $41,704 versus $34,948 for females. The per capita income for the city was $24,707. Medford has 3 public, educational, and government access cable TV channels. The public access television channel is TV3. The educational access television is Channel 15 and 16 is the government access television municipal channel. Education. Medford is home to many schools, public and private. Elementary public: Christopher Columbus Elementary School, Brooks Elementary School, John J. McGlynn Elementary School, Milton Fuller Roberts Elementary School. Private: Elliott Pearson Children's School, Gentle Dragon Preschool, Merry-Go-Round Nursery School, Play Academy Learning Center, Oakland Park Children's Center, 6 Acres Nursery School. Private street: Joseph's, St. Clement's, St. Raphael's. Middle School: John J. McGlynn Middle School, Madeline Duggar Andrews Middle School. High school: Public Medford High School, Medford Vocational Technical High School. Mascot: Mustang. Private: St. Clement's High School. College: Private, Tufts University. Miscellaneous education: Private, the Japanese Language School of Boston. Government. Local government: Michael J. McGlynn, Mayor; Edward P. Finn, City Clerk; Stephanie Muccini Burke, Director of Budget and Personnel; City Council: Paul Camasa, President; Richard F. Caraviello, Vice President; Frederick N. Dello Russo Jr., Robert M. Penta, Brianna Lungo Cohen, Michael J. Marks, Adam Knight. School Committee: Michael J. McGlynn, Chairman; John C. Falco Jr., Vice Chairman; Paulette Van der Kloot, Secretary; Anne-Marie Cugno, Erin Di Benedetto, George A. Scarpelli, Robert E. Skerry Jr. Local media and news. The City of Medford has several local news and media outlets. Print: Medford Transcript, Medford Daily Mercury. Television and other: Medford Community Cablevision, Inc., Medford Cable News, Medford Patch, published by AL Inc., Made in Medford. Transportation. Numerous Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority bus lines go through Medford, specifically, the 80, 94, 95, 96, 99, 100, 101, 108. and 134 bus routes provide local service and direct connections to nearby areas in Arlington, Somerville, Cambridge, Malden, Charlestown, Winchester, and Woburn, while the 325 and 326 routes provide express service to downtown Boston, and the 710 route is contracted to another carrier. The 90, 97, 106, 110, and 112 bus routes additionally terminate at Wellington Station, with at most one other stop in Medford, providing a direct connection between Medford and nearby areas in Somerville, Everett, Malden, Revere, Chelsea, East Boston, and Melrose. On Medford's east side, Wellington Station on the Orange Line provides a connection to Boston and the entire rapid transit system. On the west side, the Lowell commuter rail line stops in West Medford Square. Discussion of bringing the Green Line into Medford, as is mandated by environmental mitigation provisions of the Big Dig project, is ongoing. On February 2, 2009, the state formally endorsed extending the Green Line through Medford, terminating near the intersection of Boston Avenue and Mystic Valley Parkway. As proposed, the terminus would not have parking facilities. The extension would serve an additional 10,000 potential Green Line riders. Joseph's Limousine and Transportation runs a bus line through the city, and also picks up passengers going to other parts of Greater Boston or out of state. Interstate 93 travels roughly north-south through the city. State routes passing through Medford include 16, 28, 38, and 60. Points of interest. Tufts University. Though the Tufts campus is mainly located in Medford, the Somerville-Medford border actually runs through it. The school employs many local residents and has many community service projects that serve the city. especially those run through the Leonard Carmichael Society and the Jonathan M. Tisch College of Citizenship and Public Service, the latter of which especially emphasizes public service in Tufts host communities. Isaac Royal House, a 1692 house operated as a non-profit museum. The Unitarian Universalist Church of Medford, Medford's first religious community since 1690. Amelia Earhart Residence, 76 Brooks Street. John Wade House, built 1784, added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1975. Former site of Fanny Farmer's house, corner of Paris and Salem Streets. Grandfather's house, Grace Church, designed by H. Richardson. Gravity Research Foundation monument at Tufts University. Henry Bradley Jr. House, Jingle Bells Historical Marker, High Street. Salem Street Burying Ground. United States Post Office, Medford, Maine. Historic 1937 building. Notable people: Edwin Adams, stage comedian of the 19th century. Lou Antonelli, science fiction writer. Rev. Hosea Ballou II, minister of First Universalist and first president of Tufts College. Sean Bates, professional hockey player, New York Islanders. Jessica Biel, actress, resident while attending Tufts University. Heber R. Bishop, 1840–1902, industrialist and financier. Michael Bloomberg, mayor of New York City. Dale Bozzio, lead singer of band Missing Persons, worked with Frank Zappa. Mary Carew, Olympic gold medalist sprinter, born in Medford. Terry Lyne Carrington, jazz drummer. Lydia Maria Child, anti-slave activist, writer of the poem, Over the River and Through the Woods. Martha Coakley, Attorney General of Massachusetts. Thayer David, TV and film character actor. Edward Duggar, African-American military commander. Amelia Earhart, pioneer aviatrix, born in Kansas, lived in Medford as a young woman. Fanny Farmer, culinary expert. Frank Fontaine, comedian and singer. Paul Geary, former drummer of hard rock band Extreme, music manager for acts such as Godsmack. Colonel Edward Needles Hallowell, merchant and commander of 54th Massachusetts Volunteer Infantry in the American Civil War. Robert Kelly, comedian, Torgasm, Comedy Central. Kathleen McCartney, president of Smith College, former dean of Harvard Graduate School of Education. Michael McDowell, screenwriter of Beetlejuice and The Nightmare Before Christmas and author of several notable Southern Gothic novels. Dave McGillivray, race director of Boston Marathon. Laurel McGough, actress and singer. Maria Menounos, Miss Massachusetts Teen USA 1996, media personality, actress, professional wrestler. Bill Monbouquet, Major League Baseball pitcher 1958–1968. Priscilla Morrill, actress, played Edie Grant on The Mary Tyler Moore Show. John Forbes Nash, Princeton professor, winner of Nobel Prize in Economics. Julianne Nicholson, actress. Alexis Ohanian, founder of Reddit. Mike Pagliarillo, Major League Baseball player. James Pierpont, writer of Jingle Bells. Rev. John Pierpont. Ruth Basselt, classical violinist. Robert D. Richardson, historian, grew up in the Osgood house. William Zabina Ripley, economist and racial theorist. Joe Rogan, comedian, podcaster, UFC host of Fear Factor. Mark Rupinian, NFL player. Isaac Royal, Jr., 18th century benefactor of Harvard. David Sacco, NHL player. Joe Sacco, NHL player and coach. Claude Shannon, scientist, father of information theory and modern digital communications. Elizabeth Short, aspiring actress, brutally mutilated and murdered, dubbed the Black Dahlia by the press. Clifford Shull, Nobel Prize-winning American physicist. Rev. Clarence Skinner, Dean of Religion at Tufts University, minister Hillside Universalist Church, theologian and pacifist. George Luther Stearns, industrialist, one of John Brown's Secret Six, lead recruiter of 54th and 55th Regiments. Mark T. Sullivan, author who has written novels on his own and has co-authored 3 James Patterson novels. Paul Theroux, author. Keith T. Kachuk, NHL player. Ed Tryon, halfback at Colgate University, elected to College Football Hall of Fame in 1963. Bob Tufts, Major League Baseball pitcher.